Good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome Lieutenant Governor Flanagan to Mankato. Take time to come and see the sites that we have here, whether it's the flooding down at Sibley Park or the dump, which is right behind us, which was very convenient for our citizens. When you have items that are carpets that are wet and so forth, you panic just because they're in your house, and then what do you do to dispose of them? And the city of Mankato has done a phenomenal job by opening this site to have all the citizens of Mankato, and I repeat, the citizens of Mankato right now are the ones that are able to bring their unused items or their wet items or whatever you want to say and bring them back here. And I was telling Lieutenant Governor, it's pretty sad when you look at recliners and stuff. These are people's items. These are people's homes, stuff that they had in their house and that they treasured. And unfortunately, they have to be thrown back here in a dumping area. But again, we are so blessed with our staff here in Mankato. They have been unbelievable. They were prepared for the worst and were ready, and thank God we did not have to do that, but they were on top of it. They kept our citizens informed, which is very, very important, because when we inform our citizens and they have information, they are calm. And that's what we want them to be. This is our job. This is what our staff does. They are doing a phenomenal job, is keeping people calm and keeping Mankato safe for everyone. Again, I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Flanagan for coming. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget, adjust my microphone.
You got it. Absolutely.
It's killing me.
I'm sorry. Yep. Absolutely. How's that? Okay? Okay. And now we got the train. It's all happening here in Mankato. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Madam Mayor, and thank you to, maybe we'll just wait 1 second. You got it.
It's hard to tell people to stop.
That's right.
This.
I mean, my husband was in radio, right? So I get it. Wait for that. That's gonna take a while. So we should just jump in. What?
We sometimes like the noise.
Because it's like it's all happening. All right, Sadaf,
All right,
here we go. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Madam Mayor, and thank you, of course, to our city leaders who are here and our legislators. I had the opportunity to go a little bit further upriver. The water's moving incredibly fast, and so was grateful to be able to see that. We're seeing trees whole trees just flowing right down the river, which is an incredibly important reminder for folks to stay away from the water and stay safe. The safety of Minnesotans is the most important issue, I think, for all of us, and just wanted to remind folks about that. It's no secret that we are facing incredible damage from this flooding, but we also know that we have the people, we also have the resources to be able to appropriately respond to this flooding. And I am so grateful to the leadership here in Mankato, and as the mayor mentioned, just being in communication with residents. I think folks want as much information as possible right now, and it's been making a big difference. People are sad and scared, but I think the ongoing communication has been incredibly important for folks as well. I know also, as we're seeing the items from families behind us, you see, as the mayor mentioned, recliners, there's some toys, wet carpeting. Grateful that this is here for folks to be able to recover, and just a good reminder for people, especially in Blue Earth County, to keep your receipts. We will absolutely want to make sure that we are providing relief for folks, so keeping those receipts for all of these expenses is going to be incredibly important to recovery as well, to residents, and of course also to farmers. Keep those receipts. I also know that having 169 being closed can be an annoyance, but it's really, really important for folks to follow those detours, to stay safe, and to avoid driving through any water. We've said that multiple times, but it absolutely bears repeating. It might look like 3 feet or 3 inches. It could be 30. Stay safe and stay away from the water. And it's incredibly important also that we just follow the experts, MnDOT's lead in keeping out of the way of all of the construction as well. So, as you know, Governor Walz yesterday took an aerial tour of this region. I've seen some of those aerial shots as well. The water is up a little bit, even from yesterday, in some of the parks and areas that I have seen. And so it's just important for people to just continue to pay attention to local government and the messages that they are sending out as well. But of course, Governor Walz and I, are grateful to our local governments for their support. Of course, the National Guard stands ready to assist. Our Department of Public Safety, of course, stands ready, and all of our state agencies, from the Department of Agriculture to the Department of Health, also stand ready to help and to do what's needed. We fully expect that we will have additional requests. We will be fully prepared for those requests as well, and just will help to respond to communities as they need it. One of the things that the mayor and I were talking about is that, of course, Minnesotans want to be helpful. They always are wondering, how can I volunteer? What do you need here in Mankato? And I think the answer is, you don't know yet, right? Because of the water, and it is still so high. It is once the water clears out that we'll have a better sense of recovery and cleanup. So I think an important message to people right now as well is, don't forget about Mankato and about these communities, because the water will recede over the coming weeks, and we want to make sure that if you are ready to help, that you're ready to help in the coming days and weeks as well. But stay tuned. I love that question, because Minnesotans, we take care of each other. But right now, there's not a whole lot to do quite yet. But again, when you are ready to step up and help your fellow Minnesotans, we will absolutely communicate that information that is needed so that you can do so. And I'm going to turn it over to our city manager, Suzanne Ernst. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Susan Arntz. That's SUSANARNTZ, and I serve as the city manager for the city of Mankato. I'm going to talk about two things. I can talk a little bit about the river condition in the last 24 hours, and then I can talk about the activity that you see happening behind us here. Yesterday, midday, the river, we believe, did hit its peak at about 29.7 feet here in Mankato, where we measure. It's been holding steady at that level for the last 24 hours or so, and we anticipate that between now and Friday that we will start to see the river recede, and we anticipate that the river will recede anywhere from 3 to 5 feet here in the next couple of days. Our estimates right now are somewhere around 25.5 feet on Friday. So that's what we are managing and monitoring from the river condition right now. What you see happening behind us on Friday, our staff set up a debris collection site for our City of Mankato residents. We've been staffing it with our community service staff and have had about 388 minus those that have shown up since you've been here. So approaching 400 deliveries that have come with debris. We've had our customer service team, or our 311 team, have taken over 110 phone calls since we've had our emergency operations center open as well, giving directions and answering questions. The site is open to City of Mankato only residents, because we won't get reimbursed in the future if we have residents coming from elsewhere. So we're trying to manage that as best we can. And as you can see behind me, what we're collecting is the debris. We have a partnership with West Central Sanitation that will eventually come and start removal of the debris and take it to its appropriate final destinations over time. We intend to keep this site open until 9 p.m. on Friday, June 28th, and it will remain open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. each of those days. People in Mankato who have questions, need information, maybe have with the groundwater continuing to fluctuate, if they have sewage or water in their basement that they feel they need to report, we're asking them to call our 311 team to report that. And if it's something more emergent, like in the weekend or in the evening and it's sewage, you need to call 911 to activate our team. We have our team connected and our emergency operations center is connected. So we are ready to help where we can and answer those questions and get those residents the resources they need.
Awesome. Well, we can take some questions now.
Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, what types of things can people or hope to be reimbursed for? You said people can save receipts. You're talking about a common household that has maybe the first floor flooded and they're getting rid of stuff and beginning to replace stuff. What should they save, and what kind of hope can they have that they'll be reimbursed?
Well, I think we are certainly in the assessment phase right now. Of course, all over the state, but I expect that we also will have our federal partners who will be able to step in and to help, and would say literally everything. Keep receipts for everything that you need to replace, as we're talking about furniture and carpeting, electronics, anything that you would think about with regards to like your whatever your homeowner's insurance covers. Save receipts for that. We will continue to communicate with folks about what is available, but for right now, we are just encouraging everyone to just keep close track. We know, of course, our farmers too. The Department of Ag, Commissioner Peterson, right, is in close communication with farmers across the region, especially with regards to crops. So that will be also something that we'll want people to keep track of, so they can make sure that they're reimbursed and we can do as much for them financially as possible.
But the save the receipt stuff, is that primarily for private insurance?
That's primarily, well, yes, and I would say, of course, the state funds and the state money that we have available in the DACA fund is primarily for public infrastructure, of course. But I anticipate, of course, Senator Klobuchar was up there, Senator Smith has been here, our federal partners, Representative Finstad as well. They're taking a look. We know that our federal partners will, I think, be helping us as well. But right now we're in the assessment phase where we are determining all the damage until some of the water recedes. We won't have the full picture of that as well. I don't know, Deputy Commissioner, is there anything that you want to add here? Okay.
We heard a little bit about it yesterday from some of the folks who did the flyover, but do you believe that we've hit that federal threshold for aid?
I think we absolutely will if we haven't already. I anticipate that that will be the case. But again, right now we are in that assessment phase that will continue over the following days. But I anticipate that's probably where we'll get.
Do you know if there's any special session plan to address some of their federal funding? And if so, when that could possibly take place?
So here's what I will say. I think, we are very clear that the governor and I stand ready, along with our partners in the legislature, to make sure that if Minnesotans need additional resources, that we are able to get those to them. I would say, special session is certainly an option to getting those resources. I'm not clear on timing and if that's inevitable, but I just want to be Minnesotans should be certain that if there is additional resources that are needed for recovery, we're going to figure out how to get them to them.
Are you able at this point to say, even to put a dollar amount on like how much aid is out there, or how much aid could be out there? I think folks are just trying to get a gauge of how much money there could be for support.
In our DACA fund, of course, we've got about $30 million. That will be replenished September 1 as well, with an additional 30. So those resources are available. I can't speak to the amount of potential federal funding, but I do know that we are seeing historic flooding, and so I expect that our response, will be commensurate with what people are experiencing.
Do you think it's likely the federal government will consider the flooding up north and the flooding down south as the same flooding event or separate?
That's a good question, Quinn. I'm not actually sure, but we will we'll look into that and get back to you.
And then when you had a chance to see it today, just take a tour. I mean, just speaking candidly, what do you make of seeing all of it?
I think water is a powerful force. I think that's my initial reflection. I think climate change is real, and we are experiencing the impacts of it here in Minnesota, all across the state. And I think we have good partners, of course, in the legislature and our state agencies to be able to respond to it. But I think we are going to need to continue to build climate resilient communities, and that will need to be the focus of policymakers in Minnesota and I think across this region for a really long time. But I would also say, just as a Minnesotan and you know, even just as a mom, looking at some of the items that are over there, for families, this is awful. And they've been hit hard, and it's, we just bought a house in October, and I'm just thinking about like our own basement and what's in there and how devastating this is for families. So that's the biggest thing I think that I'm thinking about is just, you know, prayers for the families who've been impacted, and just wanting people, I want people to just be assured that we are going to do everything that we can, and I hope that that provides a bit of comfort for folks. But yeah, that water is high and it's moving fast, and folks shouldn't mess around with it. People need to be safe.
And then Susan, I know you probably haven't had a minute to breathe over the last few days, and you're still in the thick of this, but I would love to try and get some context from you, just as you look at this last week as a whole, just what stands out to you, and what do you think people should take away that don't live in Mankato when they see this on TV tonight?
Yeah, I think for the last, I don't know, feels like forever, but for the last maybe 5 or 6 days, some of the things that stand out is how fast the conditions change. We've seen people who are real curious, and the conversations I've had with our staff, when they see people being curious and going and looking and getting real close, or we've seen people standing in the river up to their waist, and in talking with some of our team, when they see that, what goes through their mind is that's not going to be a rescue effort, that's going to be a recovery effort. You know, and so seeing some of those things, and I don't know how we can help people you know, stay away. They need to stay out of the river. They need to stay out of the closed roads. They need to stop moving barricades and driving around them. We put them there to keep them safe. What I will say is that yesterday we had one of our businesses who north on 169 who needed some help, and their Facebook post was "Help us get off the island." And we activated, helped. We had 12 of our staff out there, brought sandbags, helped activate, and we had 50 to 60 volunteers and some of our staff out there helping sandbag, and everybody's doing that selflessly. So we're real lucky in Mankato that just like everywhere else, that when you ask for help, people stand ready to help. So those are some real big things. We also know our staff have resources and have been prepared for a long time. Our levee is performing as it's supposed to, all of those things. We know that we have lots of partners in southern Minnesota that don't have all those things. And so, you know, our hearts go out to them too.
And quickly, I know we all saw the White House go in, a portion of it, right?
Yeah.
That video from last night. I'm curious if anyone has anything to say about that. That's going to be the video we all lead our newscast with tonight, right? I'm just curious if anyone can put that into context or just share how they're feeling about that at this point.
Hi, John Kenny, Assistant Commissioner for Minnesota Department of Public Safety, and you know, first off, my heartfelt sympathies to everyone that's experiencing this flooding event. You know, from northern Minnesota all the way down to southern Minnesota. This is just really what I hope is a once in a lifetime experience that we never have to repeat. Just with regards to what we're seeing on the river, you know, I can't emphasize enough just how important it is to stay away from that moving water. Anything that we classify in the rescue community as swift water is anything over 1 knot of moving water, and we're experiencing that all over the place. So when we, you know, specifically talk about what we're seeing on the dam, our local and state and even our federal officials are constantly monitoring the conditions of the dam to make sure, first and foremost, that everyone is safe and to stay away from that. And as we watch this, the house that was on the kind of that cliffside and the erosion of the hillside there, I think it just goes to show just how incredibly powerful that water is. It's that just reminder on how important it is to stay away from any moving water, and things can rapidly change in a very, very split second. Having grown up in the fire service and been in water rescue my entire life, this is some of the most difficult conditions that I've ever seen. And as was just mentioned, to stay out of that water, don't go anywhere near it, things can change. I think what really struck me the most is just full-size trees moving down the river, and if you get caught up and one little branch or a tree hits you, it's just going to take you right down the current. So,
Governor, you were out in the river?
I wasn't in the river. No, we were just standing on shore.
Okay.
Yep.
I misunderstood.
Yes, I was not in the river because I follow local public safety directives. But I would say, and I do want to just lift this up one more time. Stay out of the water. If for nothing else, of course it is moving swiftly. It is incredibly unsanitary. There is sewage in that water. It is not safe for a whole host of reasons. So water is a force. You've heard it from multiple people. Stay away, stay safe, and especially for everybody who's in public safety, our first responders have to be able to quickly get to emergencies. Do not create an additional emergency for folks to respond to. But just so grateful for the leadership of the city, for our partners in the legislature. Mayor, just thank you. And to really, I know a lot of people from Mankato. They are a strong and resilient group of folks, and we will just continue to be ready and available to support in whatever way we can people across the state who have been impacted by flooding.
And the safety message is a message for everyone in Minnesota, not just people.
That is exactly right. All across the state of Minnesota, if you see water, stay out of it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all making the drive. Yep.
John's spelling it. Thanks, Todd. Let me know if you figure it out. Maybe you'll know what I'm doing too. Pretty sure they involve swear words. Hey, I missed your name. Cunningham, yeah. Oh, that's what